rolling in.
The podcast.
Welcome to Friday Night Thunder, the podcast. I'm your host, Derek Miller, with my co-host,
Glenn Styres.
and today we have a special guest with us, Kevin Loveys, who is the crew chief of the GSR racing team for Glenn Styres. Now, let's have a little history here. What's the story between Glenn and yourself? Kevin, want to tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, it's probably like 23 years ago now. My buddy sold Glenn a car, and because he was going racing full time in the States, so I didn't have anybody to help or any cars to work on. So, I knew Glenn at that point. Never met him, so I went to the track just for a regular Friday night show. So this had to be 1999. So I just walked up to Glenn and said, "Hey, I heard you bought Ryan's car, and I'd like to come and help you on the car." And he's, "Oh, I never bought no race cars." And so apparently at that point he hadn't told his wife. So I thought it was a bit weird. And I was just like, "Oh, okay, well, maybe you didn't buy a car." And at the end of the night I was leaving, he was chasing me through the pits. He's like, yeah, I bought the car, come and help. I just haven't told my wife yet. So that's kind of how it started. And, we just kind of went from there.
It's great to have you here today, Kevin.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Thanks for taking some time out. Today we're going to discuss on the podcast races being won in the shop, which is probably the most truest statement, is it?
Yeah.
Let's start from, we're going to Ohsweken, we're doing a heat race, it's tacky. What are we setting that car up like?
Well, I have a ton of experience at Ohsweken, so I kind of have a good idea what to go with. But it's tough now because everybody's got the same equipment. Like everybody's got the same engines, same shock, same torsion bars. So you got to find that speed in the shop usually. And
what Glenn was saying before was it's almost a guessing game, and who guesses right for the feature.
I've always said it's the best guesser generally wins the race. Even for the driver. The driver's kind of got to guess where the fast lane's going to be at the beginning of the race.
Right.
And follow it through the race.
I think I kind of heard Kevin maybe talking that he said he wanted to come back home. He was tired of being...
It was probably actually a couple years ago we talked about it.
Yeah, and then I said, "You ready to come back yet?" And he was like, maybe, soon. So when Dylan and Steve departed and went to Hill Racing, that kind of opened up the door for Kevin to come back. And so that's really how it started. And he's just taken over ever since.
So where's home? The original?
Right, I'm from Hamilton.
So that's where you want to come back from. Where were you?
Oh, I've been all over. Like when I left Glenn probably in 2003, I just went on the road full time. So basically I lived in a motorhome and a hotel for 10 years, just going to racetracks every night.
Wow. And you were crew chiefing?
Yep.
Mostly?
That was with the World of Outlaws.
Okay.
So that's just basically a traveling circus.
Who are you crew chiefing for?
There's been them.
Name them.
I worked for Tony Bruce Jr. for a while, Jeremy Campbell, Shane Stewart, Jessica Zemkin, a couple, moonlighting gigs here and there. And then the last about 10 years I was in Quebec with Steve Poirier. And we just kind of stayed around the Northeast running the Empire Super Sprints, which is still, it's not the Outlaws obviously, but we still race 40, 50 times a year and, Friday, Saturday, Sundays and, 10-hour drive homes and stuff like that. So it gets...
Still a brutal schedule.
Yeah, it's tough.
Now, everybody that don't know, the World of Outlaws is the premier dirt sprint car class.
Yeah, it'd be like the top level of sprint car racing.
That's where all the bad boys are. That's the 410 cars, 900 plus horsepower.
They're probably pushing 1,000 now.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
No,
that's why we're like, ah.
But now they're to the point where they don't need that much power, so they're trying to make them more drivable now.
Oh, okay. Then going through the years, have you seen a lot of advancement, innovation in these motors and everything like that? Or is it pretty much stayed the same?
The cars are basically the same. Everything else, all the components are just more refined now. Not much variation between chassis and chassis. But they're all different. Like on the feeling on the track's all different.
Seriously, so a cool chassis will be different than a Maxim chassis, which will be different to... what are you guys running these days?
Oh, we're on Mach 1 chassis.
Mach 1 chassis.
Well, first of all, I can tell you that there was no experience running a shop. And first of all, that's what we needed. And we had shelves and shelves full of junk, like old stuff. And there might have been some new stuff in there, but there was nothing worth keeping. And when Kevin come in, I just kept saying, get rid of it. Give it away, sell it, donate it. I don't care. Let's start fresh. Let's start brand new. Let's get all of our equipment up to date.
Looks like a tornado went through there and just flung sprint car parts everywhere. But that comes down to winning in the shop. Like, I started taking stuff apart and things are bent. Chassis are cracked. You're not going to win at the track with stuff like that. So
Yeah, which brings up squaring the car is the most important, isn't it?
yeah, you have to, especially the rear end. If the rear end's not square in the car, then it's really going to affect how the car works.
And you're just kind of guessing at that point of what adjustment's going to do what, because
On a
if it's
slick
not square,
racetrack, if your car's not right, you're not going to win.
Let's talk to that, because I've heard of Larson knocking off his Jacob's ladder and still winning the damn race.
Oh, I don't think we can use him as a fair comparison.
2 other heavyweights were at Ohsweken in 2019, and they both agree that the car has to be right.
First 2 stages, I won driving away. I'm like, dude, I'm good at this racetrack. Stage 3, get too tight, suck. And it's like, if your car sucks, you can't do anything. You look like old school Rico.
My car was good.
Isn't it funny how that works?
Car's got to be good.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's tough.
Is it? Different
doing the actual work on the cars is not that bad. I've done it forever, so I can kind of do it fairly quickly, but it's being organized with the rest of the stuff. Like, every car needs, extra wheels, extra tires. Like, it to me, I don't want to mount tires at the racetrack. Like I need to be focusing on other things, making sure the engines are running right. So all that stuff needs to be done, written down, prepared before you get to the racetrack. So you can just look on the shelf and say, that tire's this size, put that one on. And there's not, mounting it, measuring it, doing all that stuff at the track. That's just way too time consuming to do at the track.
Yeah, that's a big point, because tires are a really huge thing to this, right?
Yep. Well, they're the only 4 things that touch the ground, so they're
very important.
they're very important. Yes. Everybody knows Ohsweken Speedway now.
Yeah.
He didn't, when he built the first. Remember the bathrooms in the pits?
Yeah.
I was like, you're crazy. What are you doing that for? But now I thought about it like 2 years later. I'm thinking, well, Ohsweken's probably one of the only tracks where you can go and comfortably take a shit in the pits and not have to worry about something biting you in the ass.
Yeah.
Because some of those tracks in Pennsylvania, like, there's just got horse troughs you piss in.
Wow.
Like, if you got a shit at the track, you're
Out of luck.
you're out of luck.
You need to take a paddle in the bathroom, knock over the pile.
And I thought he was crazy for doing that.
Yeah, I still never had siding on my house.
But you had
But
bathrooms
I
in the
had
pits.
beautiful bathrooms.
Yeah, but you wouldn't believe the amount of people that talked about that.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a big deal.
then when the Canadian Nationals started getting big, guys from the States started coming, then guys from Ohio would come that are used to those old tracks from the 30s or whenever they were built.
Wow.
So they show up to Ohsweken and they see the bathroom and
Look at a casino
Yeah.
bathroom. Kenny Schrader was first one he went and used the bathroom. He goes, "Oh no, don't let my partner go in there. It's gonna be making me build bathrooms like this."
That's awesome. Yeah, to saying that, like, I'd be seeing race suits all over NASCAR too. Like, you'd see Dexter Stacy.
Yeah.
He'd have a Ohsweken on there, and he's a back runner, but there's Ohsweken.
It was really
right
awesome
there.
when I first kind of start getting to know Tony, he's like, everywhere I look, I see a Ohsweken Speedway. Where is this place? What is this place? Right?
And now I'll try to find the clip for you. Donnie Schatz did an interview with somebody. It was like kind of like this, like a candid interview, and they were his dad's got cancer, so they're talking about that, and just randomly the guy says, "Oh, by the way, what's your favorite racetrack?" And without even hesitating, he's like, "Ohsweken Speedway." And that guy's pretty much dominated sprint cars for the last 10 years.
Right. And when I was down,
So he didn't even hesitate.
that's amazing. I was down in Australia, and I asked Brad Sweet, I said, "When you guys coming back?" He said, "Get the Outlaws back. I love that place." Right.
I think we definitely got more of a chance, like by far. Everybody's running better, right, compared to last year. It's not even no comparison.
And like Glenn said, like without the shutdown, like it's helped me get more prepared too. Like now that I'm there, like 4 cars is it's a big, I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off at the track. And then plus if something happens to one of the cars and I can't watch one of the heat races, and it's hard to manage the whole deal.
Yeah, it's funny that when you guys first started talking about how races are won in a shop, it really starts with the credit card.
There you go.
He's like, is it a pretty big bill coming? Send it. It's like this much. Go for it. Let's get rid of all that crap. Like, let's start fresh.
Yeah.
And that's been a big change for us.
Amazing. Thanks for coming in, Kevin Loveys,
thanks for having
and
me.
sharing some of the knowledge and know-how about what happens to these sprint cars. Thank you, Glenn, for co-hosting and doing all this.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Join us again next week or whenever you want online. Friday Night Thunder podcast. We'll see you soon. For more information on the Friday Night Thunder television series and to find out how to watch it, check out our social media or go to our website.
Friday Night Thunder!
Perfect. I love it. That's awesome.